In a world overflowing with distractions, half-truths, and emotional chaos, the ability to think clearly has never been more valuable or more difficult to attain. Every day, we are bombarded with information, forced into snap judgments, and pulled in 1,000 different directions. Yet, those who rise above the noise, those who can cut through the mental clutter and see reality as it is, gain an almost superhuman advantage. Clear thinking is not a gift given at birth. It is a skill, one that must be trained and sharpened like a sword. It is the difference between being controlled by emotions or controlling them, between making decisions out of impulse or wisdom. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that if the mind is in turmoil, everything else follows suit. But how do we achieve this level of clarity? How do we stop our thoughts from running in circles? How do we cut through the illusions and see the truth? The answer lies in a structured approach, one that combines ancient wisdom with modern techniques. In this guide, we will uncover the secrets of clear thinking through stillness, perspective, discipline, and focus. Each chapter will bring you closer to mastering your own mind, making you not only a better thinker, but a stronger and more capable human being. The battle for clarity begins now. Chapter 1. The Power of a Still Mind. The Stoics understood that a calm and collected mind is the foundation of clear thinking. When our thoughts are frantic, our judgment becomes clouded, and our decisions become reactionary. The ability to still the mind is not a luxury, it is a necessity. A cluttered mind is like a stormy sea. Imagine trying to navigate a ship in the middle of crashing waves and heavy winds. It is nearly impossible to see the path ahead. But when the sea is calm, every rock and reef is visible, allowing for precise and deliberate movement. Clarity is not about having all the answers, but about creating an inner environment where the right answers can emerge. One way to cultivate a still mind is through controlled breathing. When overwhelmed, take a slow breath in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, then exhale for 4. This technique slows the heart rate and signals the body to relax, clearing space for rational thought. Breathing is the bridge between body and mind, and mastering it allows us to take control over our mental state. Try the box breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4. Repeat this cycle for at least a few minutes and observe how your racing thoughts begin to settle. Many people may not be interested in writing in a personal journal. They may feel that journaling is not useful or impactful, or that it simply isn't for them. However, they must realize that in order to be a true Stoic and achieve true positive transformation, journaling is one of the most effective and powerful tools to take the reins and control the mind. The act of journaling is not just about recording events or venting emotions. It is a practice of self-examination and refinement of thought. The great Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, kept personal journals not to document their lives, but to challenge their perceptions, regulate their emotions, and maintain clarity. It is in the act of writing that one truly confronts the mind and disciplines it. Journaling is a tool for clearing the mind. Writing down swirling thoughts organizes them into manageable patterns, helping you see the structure behind chaos. A useful exercise is brain dumping. Take a blank sheet of paper and write down everything on your mind without filtering. Once all thoughts are on paper, categorize them into concerns, tasks, and reflections. This method turns overwhelming mental noise into structured clarity. Another practice is thought distancing. When faced with intrusive or negative thoughts, write them down as though they belong to someone else. By framing them in third-person perspective, you detach from emotional influence and gain objective insight. This technique is especially useful for diffusing anxiety and regaining control over mental clutter. This method allows you to separate emotions from logic and observe your thoughts as an impartial observer, making it easier to navigate challenging situations. To further enhance thought distancing, pair it with meditation or mindfulness exercises. Spending a few minutes reflecting on your thoughts in a detached way can help train your mind to recognize patterns in emotional responses and reduce impulsive reactions over time. This exercise strengthens your ability to separate thoughts from immediate emotions, allowing you to regain control and make more rational decisions. A deeper method of journaling is the Stoic reflection method. At the end of each day, write down 3 questions. What did I do well today? What could I have done better? What will I do differently tomorrow? This exercise helps track personal progress, reinforce positive actions, and instill self-awareness. It also helps establish long-term behavioral improvements by identifying patterns of success and failure. For a more comprehensive approach, extend this practice by writing down specific challenges you faced during the day and reflecting on how you could have handled them more effectively using Stoic principles. Journaling serves as a tool to solidify learning. When engaging with new ideas, writing them down forces you to process, clarify, and internalize them. Many of history's greatest thinkers were devoted note-takers because they understood that writing refines thought. If you come across an important philosophical lesson, book excerpt, or personal insight, write it down and reflect on how it applies to your own life. By reinforcing key ideas in writing, you ensure deeper internalization and a greater ability to recall them in the future. To take journaling a step further, engage in dialogue journaling. This technique involves writing as if you were having a conversation with a mentor, philosopher, or even your future self. Asking and answering questions in written form allows for deeper self-exploration and cognitive restructuring. It is particularly effective in resolving internal conflicts and making tough decisions. Cultivating a still mind is not about eliminating thoughts, but about managing them effectively. When the mind is quiet, wisdom and clarity emerge naturally. A journal becomes not just a record, but a tool for self-mastery, a mirror reflecting the state of the mind, and a guide toward clearer, more disciplined thinking. When used consistently, journaling transforms from a simple habit into a lifelong companion for introspection, wisdom, and personal growth. Chapter 2. Separating emotion from logic. Emotions are powerful. They fuel passion, creativity, and connection. However, they can also distort reality, making it difficult to think rationally. The Stoics did not advocate suppressing emotions, but rather understanding them and preventing them from dictating decisions. Seneca advised, "A raging storm cannot last forever, neither can human emotion." When emotions lead, assumptions take over, but when logic guides us, we see the full picture. This applies to all aspects of life, our interactions, relationships, and daily frustrations. We often judge situations too quickly, forming opinions before we have all the facts, and emotions exacerbate this tendency. A more comprehensive approach to handling emotions is to apply the pause and assess method. When a strong emotion arises, take a moment to pause and recognize it without acting on it. Label the emotion you are feeling. This simple act of naming the emotion creates distance between you and the feeling itself, allowing you to examine it objectively. Once labeled, assess the emotion. Is this reaction justified? Am I making assumptions? What is the most rational response? This process shifts emotional thinking into logical thinking. Another useful strategy is the 10-10-10 rule. When faced with a decision or emotional response, ask yourself, how will I feel about this in 10 minutes? In 10 months? In 10 years? This technique broadens perspective, helping to minimize the weight of fleeting emotions and encouraging long-term thinking. Most emotions, when examined through this lens, lose their power over us, allowing clarity and rationality to take over. To expand on this, take the 10-10-10 reflection journal approach. At the end of each day, write down any emotional reactions you had and apply the rule retroactively. By assessing past decisions and emotional responses through this framework, you train your brain to naturally consider long-term consequences, reducing impulsive decision-making in the future. Over time, this habit rewires how you approach emotional triggers. One of the most effective tools for separating emotion from logic is mindfulness meditation. By practicing mindfulness, you train your brain to observe emotions without reacting impulsively. The Stoics practiced a form of this through daily reflection, taking time to examine their thoughts and behaviors, reinforcing the discipline of emotional detachment. A simple exercise is to sit quietly, focus on your breathing, and observe your thoughts and feelings as they arise, letting them pass like clouds in the sky without attaching to them. Over time, this practice rewires the brain to process emotions more calmly and rationally. By mastering these techniques, we regain control over our emotions, allowing logic and reason to guide us rather than impulsive reactions. The goal is not to become emotionless, but to cultivate emotional intelligence, using feelings as information rather than commands. In doing so, we align ourselves with the Stoic ideal of clear, rational thought. With consistent practice, these strategies become second nature, allowing you to navigate life with greater wisdom, patience, and clarity. Chapter 3: The Art of Asking the Right Questions. The quality of our thinking is determined by the quality of our questions. Socrates, a great philosopher, was known for his method of questioning, which forced people to examine their assumptions. "An unexamined life is not worth living," he famously said. "If we accept information at face value without questioning it, we become prisoners of ignorance." Learning to ask better questions is the key to unlocking clearer, more insightful thinking. Questions shape our perspectives, influence our decisions, and guide our understanding of the world. When faced with a challenge, the way we frame our inquiry dictates the solutions we uncover. If we ask, "Why is this happening to me?" we place ourselves in a position of victimhood. However, if we ask, "What can I learn from this?" we shift toward empowerment and growth. Similarly, asking, "What are the real consequences of each of my options?" helps us move beyond emotional reactions and into rational decision-making. A simple yet powerful exercise is to take any major decision you are facing and generate at least 5 different questions about it. This expands the way you perceive the issue and helps uncover hidden solutions. For instance, instead of merely asking, "Should I take this new job?" consider asking, "What are the long-term benefits of this choice? How will this decision impact my personal growth? What risks am I overlooking? And would my future self regret not taking this opportunity?" By reframing the problem from different angles, we force ourselves to think more deeply and critically. Another technique is to engage in a Socratic dialogue with yourself. Write down a question, then answer it. Challenge that answer with another question and continue this process until you reach the root of the issue. This iterative questioning technique, modeled after Socratic inquiry, exposes underlying biases and brings clarity to even the most complex problems. By training yourself to ask better questions, you cultivate a habit of deeper reasoning and improved problem-solving skills. Thoughtful questioning is a mental discipline that fosters intellectual independence and leads to better choices in every aspect of life. The quality of the answers you receive will always depend on the depth and precision of the questions you ask. Chapter 4: The discipline of focus. Distraction is the enemy of clear thinking. We live in a world where attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. Emails, notifications, and endless streams of information make it difficult to concentrate. The Stoics valued the ability to focus deeply, recognizing that scattered attention leads to scattered thoughts. In today's world, with digital distractions more pervasive than ever, it has become essential to cultivate focus deliberately. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means prioritizing deep work over shallow distractions. The mind thrives in an environment where it can concentrate on one task at a time. When we attempt to juggle multiple things, our cognitive resources become fragmented, leading to confusion and poor decision-making. Instead of feeling the need to respond to every message or consume every piece of news, practice intentional focus by limiting your exposure to unnecessary distractions. To enhance focus, try time blocking. Set a timer for 25 minutes and work on a single task with full attention. Then take a 5-minute break. This trains the brain to sustain attention and filter out noise. Another effective method is the one-thing rule. When starting a task, commit fully to completing it before moving on to anything else. This prevents task switching fatigue and enhances productivity. Meditation and mindfulness techniques can also be employed to train the mind for greater focus. A simple exercise involves focusing on your breath for 5 minutes daily. Every time your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. This practice strengthens your ability to concentrate, making it easier to stay focused during tasks. Additionally, adopt the 2-minute rule to prevent procrastination. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately to clear mental clutter. Small actions completed immediately prevent them from piling up and creating unnecessary stress. This simple habit trains the brain to act rather than delay, fostering momentum and efficiency in all aspects of life. For longer tasks, break them into smaller, manageable steps. Large projects can often feel overwhelming, leading to avoidance. Instead, by setting micro goals, each step becomes more achievable, reducing the psychological barrier to starting. A helpful technique is the 5-minute start rule. Commit to working on a task for just 5 minutes. Once engaged, inertia often takes over, and you are likely to continue working beyond those initial minutes. This method is particularly useful for tasks that seem intimidating or monotonous. Another effective technique is the deep work sprint. Set aside 60 to 90 minutes of distraction-free work, during which you focus on a single complex task. To enhance this, use the focus reward system. After completing a deep work session, reward yourself with a short break or an enjoyable activity. This conditions the brain to associate deep focus with positive reinforcement, making it easier to maintain long-term discipline. Developing the discipline of focus requires conscious effort, but over time it becomes second nature. One of the best ways to strengthen focus is to create a personal attention audit. Track your daily distractions and assess how much time is lost to them. This awareness helps you implement proactive strategies to minimize distractions and optimize productivity. Additionally, cultivate an evening reflection habit where you analyze what worked well in terms of focus and what needs improvement. Refining your approach consistently will lead to greater mental discipline and efficiency. By implementing these strategies, you will cultivate an unshakable ability to think clearly, make better decisions, and maximize your cognitive potential. The ability to focus deeply is a rare and valuable skill in a world filled with distractions. Strengthening this ability not only enhances productivity, but also fosters a deeper sense of clarity, purpose, and fulfillment in everyday life. Chapter 5. The role of simplicity in thinking. Overcomplication is a sign of unclear thinking. When we try to make things more complex than they need to be, we get lost in unnecessary details. The Stoics believed in stripping things down to their essence. "If you seek truth, rid yourself of unnecessary things," said Epictetus. To truly embrace simplicity, it is necessary to understand that complexity often arises from fear. Fear of missing something important, fear of making the wrong decision, or fear of appearing ignorant. However, the truth is that excessive complication leads to indecision and confusion. The mind, when cluttered with too many variables, struggles to find a clear path forward. Consider a problem you are facing. Break it down into its simplest form. Instead of worrying about a complicated solution, ask yourself, what is the core issue? Simplicity often reveals clarity that complexity obscures. Instead of layering excessive details onto a decision, remove all unnecessary aspects until only the essential factors remain. This mental discipline allows for greater efficiency and sharper judgment. A practical way to cultivate simplicity in thought is through the one-sentence rule. When faced with a challenge, try summarizing the issue in a single, clear sentence. If you struggle to do so, the problem is likely too convoluted in your mind. Refine your sentence until it captures the essence of the situation. This exercise forces clarity by eliminating distractions and secondary concerns. Minimalism is not just for material possessions, it applies to thoughts as well. A cluttered mind leads to a cluttered life. The ability to prioritize and focus on the essentials is what separates great thinkers from those who remain overwhelmed by excess information. Another useful strategy is the three-step decision filter. Before making a choice, ask yourself three simple questions. 1. Is this necessary? 2. Does this align with my core values? 3. Will this decision simplify or complicate my life? If a choice does not pass these filters, reconsider whether it is worth pursuing. Training yourself to think in essentials is a lifelong practice. Simplicity in thinking leads to efficiency in action, and efficiency in action leads to greater success and peace of mind. By consistently focusing on what truly matters, you develop a sharper perspective and the ability to make better decisions with confidence. Clear thinking is the result of disciplined simplicity. Chapter 6. The Strength of Perspective. Perspective is everything. Two people can experience the same event, yet interpret it differently. A delay in traffic can be seen as an inconvenience or an opportunity to listen to an audiobook. How we frame situations determines how we respond. The way we perceive an event shapes our emotions, thoughts, and subsequent actions, often creating either resilience or distress. Marcus Aurelius encouraged seeing obstacles as opportunities. If we change our perspective, we change our thinking. When facing adversity, viewing it as a chance to learn and grow rather than as a hindrance helps cultivate mental resilience. Rather than dwelling on setbacks, see them as essential training exercises for the mind, refining patience, endurance, and strength of character. The mind adapts to challenges when it is trained to see them as lessons rather than misfortunes. One exercise to build perspective is the view from above. Imagine yourself rising above your current situation. See yourself as a small figure in a vast world. Recognizing the insignificance of most problems brings mental clarity and peace. Picture yourself from a bird's-eye view, then zoom out further, seeing your city, then your country, then the entire planet. This visualization reminds us that our struggles are temporary and relatively small in the grand scheme of existence. Practicing this exercise daily fosters a mindset that embraces perspective and objectivity. Another technique is the alternate angle approach. When faced with a problem, try to look at it from multiple perspectives. How would a wise mentor see this? How would your future self evaluate this situation in 10 years? How would a completely neutral observer interpret what's happening? Practicing this form of cognitive flexibility allows you to detach from a narrow viewpoint and consider broader implications, reducing emotional turmoil and fostering rationality. A structured way to apply this approach is to write down a problem and list at least 5 different perspectives, comparing them to identify the most balanced response. Expanding perspective also involves conscious exposure to different worldviews. Engage in discussions with those who challenge your beliefs, read diverse literature, or travel to different cultures. Such experiences broaden the mind, help dissolve rigid thinking, and reinforce cognitive agility. Immersing yourself in environments that contrast with your own provides invaluable insights, allowing you to evaluate situations with increased depth and sophistication. To take perspective building a step further, practice future retrospection. This method involves mentally placing yourself years ahead and looking back at your present challenge as if it were a distant memory. Doing this helps filter out the unnecessary weight of fleeting emotions and brings clarity to what truly matters. This technique has been used by some of the greatest thinkers and decision-makers to keep a rational, long-term focus. Perspective can also be trained through gratitude reflection. Keeping a journal of things you are grateful for daily helps rewire the brain to recognize positive aspects, even in difficult circumstances. The mind, when conditioned to seek gratitude, finds optimism and hope in situations that might otherwise appear bleak. Ultimately, the power of perspective lies in its ability to transform our reality. When we train ourselves to reframe difficulties as stepping stones and choose interpretations that empower rather than debilitate, we gain control over our mental landscape. Adopting a broader perspective leads to clearer thinking, better decision-making, and a greater sense of inner peace. Mastering perspective is not an overnight process, but with consistent effort, it becomes an automatic response that shapes a more resilient and insightful mind. Chapter 7: The Power of Controlled Information Intake. Not all information is valuable. The modern world bombards us with content, much of which is irrelevant or misleading. Clear thinkers guard their minds against useless input, knowing that unchecked consumption can lead to confusion, distraction, and mental exhaustion. In an age of limitless digital content, being selective about what enters your mind is one of the most powerful ways to cultivate clarity. Seneca warned against consuming too much information without wisdom. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. News, social media, and gossip clutter the mind and distort thinking. If you consume everything, you think about everything except what matters. Mental clutter is as dangerous as physical clutter. It drains focus, reduces efficiency, and leads to decision fatigue. The key to clear thinking is to eliminate unnecessary distractions and focus on meaningful, high-quality knowledge. To filter information, practice the 3 gates test. Before accepting something, ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it helpful? If not, discard it. If an article, video, or conversation does not provide value, do not allow it to occupy your mental space. Instead, be intentional about what you consume by selecting sources that align with your personal growth and intellectual curiosity. Create information boundaries. Designate specific times to consume content and avoid doom scrolling. Set limits on social media usage and adopt a digital declutter practice where you remove non-essential apps and accounts that add little value. Just as we curate our diets for physical health, we must curate our information intake for mental clarity. Develop the habit of deep reading. Rather than skimming through endless headlines and fragmented social media posts, commit to reading books, essays, and long-form articles that require concentration and critical thinking. This not only enhances comprehension, but also strengthens cognitive endurance. Reading deeply rather than widely ensures that you are building knowledge rather than accumulating noise. Another powerful strategy is practicing input fasting. Set aside a day or a few hours each week where you refrain from consuming any new information, no news, no scrolling. Instead, spend that time reflecting, writing, or engaging in creative problem-solving. This resets your mind, allowing you to process existing knowledge more effectively rather than constantly overwhelming it with new input. Additionally, practicing the selective exposure method can help refine your information diet. This means intentionally curating what you expose your mind to, choosing only intellectually and emotionally beneficial sources. Limiting exposure to sensationalized news, gossip, and social media debates will free up mental bandwidth for deeper thought and more meaningful pursuits. To enhance retention and comprehension, employ the knowledge reinforcement technique. This involves summarizing key takeaways from what you read or learn and discussing them with others. Teaching or explaining a concept strengthens your understanding and ensures that useful information remains top of mind. Another approach is the reflective consumption strategy. Instead of passively absorbing information, take notes, write reflections, or create action steps based on new knowledge. Ask yourself, how does this information apply to my life? And what action can I take to implement this insight? This active engagement transforms knowledge into wisdom. For example, the video you are watching right now can become a more powerful tool for self-improvement if you take notes on the specific information, strategies, or philosophical insights that resonate with you. Engaging actively with the material rather than passively consuming it helps solidify knowledge and encourages deeper reflection. This is why I encourage everyone to take notes, even if it's just a few lines per lesson for later reflection. You will be surprised by how powerful and effective this simple practice can be in reinforcing learning and deepening your understanding. By actively managing the information you consume, you regain control over your thoughts and decisions. The quality of your knowledge shapes the quality of your thinking. When you eliminate unnecessary distractions and focus on meaningful insights, you create space for deeper understanding, intellectual growth, and ultimately, greater mental clarity. Developing these habits ensures that your mind remains sharp, focused, and resilient in an age of overwhelming noise. Chapter 8. The Strength of Detachment. Emotional attachment clouds judgment. When we are too close to a situation, we struggle to see it objectively. The Stoics practiced detachment, not in a cold, unfeeling way, but as a means of seeing things clearly. They understood that emotions, while valuable, should not dictate our reasoning or cloud our judgment. Detachment does not mean indifference, but rather an ability to separate feelings from facts to make better decisions. Epictetus advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Detachment does not mean disengagement, but rather creating space between emotions and decisions. When we act impulsively, driven by strong emotions, we often regret our choices later. Cultivating detachment allows us to evaluate a situation logically, leading to wiser, more deliberate actions. Practicing this daily helps build resilience, self-discipline, and a sense of inner control. A practical way to practice detachment is the third-person exercise. Imagine advising a friend who is facing your situation. This shift in perspective removes emotional bias, allowing for clearer thinking. By stepping outside ourselves, we strip away personal attachments and gain an objective view. This technique is particularly helpful in moments of frustration, anxiety, or anger, enabling us to see things from a rational standpoint instead of reacting emotionally. Another effective strategy is the time travel method. Ask yourself, what would my future self think about this situation a year from now? Often we find that what seems overwhelming in the present loses its significance with time. This method helps put challenges into perspective, reducing stress and encouraging patience. Consider expanding the time frame. What about 5 years from now? 10? This reflection reminds us that many of our current worries are temporary and often not as catastrophic as they seem. This exercise not only aids in decision-making, but also nurtures a mindset of resilience and adaptability. Additionally, practicing emotional distancing can reinforce detachment. When faced with a difficult situation, pause and analyze your emotions before reacting. Label them, "I feel frustrated," or "I feel anxious." This small act of recognition creates separation between you and your emotions, allowing you to assess whether your reaction is justified or exaggerated. Another way to enhance emotional distancing is to write down your feelings and revisit them later with a fresh perspective. This approach often reveals that our initial emotional responses are temporary and influenced by immediate circumstances rather than lasting truth. Another method is the observer mindset. This involves viewing your experiences as if you were an outsider looking in, much like a director watching a scene unfold in a movie. By mentally removing yourself from the immediate emotional experience, you gain a broader, more detached perspective, which helps in responding wisely rather than reacting impulsively. To develop this further, practice narrating your experiences in the third person, which encourages self-awareness and diminishes emotional overreaction. One additional technique is the Stoic pause. When confronted with a stressful or emotionally charged moment, take a deliberate pause before reacting. This brief moment of reflection allows you to recalibrate and choose a response that aligns with your values rather than one driven by fleeting emotions. Combining this with controlled breathing techniques, such as deep diaphragmatic breathing, further enhances mental clarity and emotional control. Mastering detachment is not about suppressing emotions, but about learning to manage them effectively. When practiced regularly, these techniques allow us to maintain a sense of inner stability, make clearer decisions, and respond to life's challenges with calm rationality rather than unchecked emotions. By integrating these methods into daily life, we develop a mental fortress against impulsive reactions and cultivate a mindset rooted in clarity, wisdom, and resilience. Chapter 9. The wisdom of acting on principles, not impulses. Principles provide a steady guide when emotions and circumstances change. Impulses often lead to regret, but principles pave the way to wisdom and integrity. The Stoics lived by virtues such as courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom, using them as their internal compass to navigate life's uncertainties. These guiding virtues ensure stability and consistency even when external conditions are chaotic. When faced with a tough decision, ask, "Does this align with my values?" A life guided by principles eliminates confusion and brings clarity. Every choice, big or small, should be measured against the moral framework you have established for yourself. By doing so, you remove indecision and doubt, replacing them with confidence in your choices. Develop a decision compass, a set of core values that guide your choices. When uncertain, refer to your compass. It keeps you anchored in moments of doubt. To strengthen this tool, write down your core principles and refine them over time. Whenever faced with difficult choices, revisit your principles and assess whether your decision aligns with them. Additionally, seek inspiration from history's greatest thinkers analyzing how they applied their principles to complex challenges. A useful exercise is the principle audit. At the end of each week, reflect on whether your actions and decisions were in harmony with your values. Identify any inconsistencies and make a plan for improvement. This continual practice ensures that principles are not just ideals, but actionable standards that shape your life. By cultivating a principle-driven life, you gain a sense of direction and inner peace. When you act in alignment with your values, external circumstances hold less power over your state of mind, allowing you to approach challenges with confidence and unwavering clarity. Chapter 10: The Art of Mental Flexibility. Mental flexibility is a critical component of clear thinking. The ability to adapt, reassess, and adjust one's beliefs and decisions in response to new evidence is a hallmark of intellectual strength. Rigidity in thought can lead to poor judgment, missed opportunities, and unnecessary suffering. The Stoics understood the power of adaptability, knowing that change is an inevitable part of life, and that true wisdom lies in the ability to adjust rather than resist. A flexible mind allows us to navigate uncertainty with confidence. It enables us to detach from fixed perspectives, explore alternative viewpoints, and revise our assumptions when presented with better information. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always have the option of having no opinion." This profound statement suggests that we are not obligated to hold on to beliefs simply out of habit or pride. Instead, we can choose to observe, reflect, and adjust. Learning when to withhold judgment and gather more information fosters intellectual humility and better decision-making. To develop mental flexibility, practice the art of intellectual humility. Acknowledge that your knowledge is always incomplete and be open to learning from others. Engage in conversations with those who challenge your views, not to argue, but to expand your understanding. Ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? And explore the implications of that possibility. This simple exercise prevents cognitive rigidity and encourages personal growth. Consider engaging in self-inquiry, where you deliberately question your deeply held beliefs and analyze how they have shaped your past decisions. Another effective technique is reframing problems. When faced with a challenge, instead of seeing it as an obstacle, view it as an opportunity for learning. Ask, how can this situation benefit me? By shifting your perspective, you transform difficulties into valuable experiences that contribute to your mental resilience and adaptability. Additionally, practicing mental agility by looking at challenges from multiple perspectives can enhance creativity and problem-solving abilities. Try adopting the viewpoint of a mentor, an outsider, or even an opponent to broaden your perspective and gain deeper insight. Practicing cognitive flexibility also involves embracing paradoxes. Many situations in life are not strictly black or white, but contain shades of complexity. By learning to hold conflicting ideas in balance and tolerate uncertainty, you expand your intellectual capacity and become more adaptable in dynamic environments. Consider adopting the mindset that you can be both confident in your knowledge while also remaining open to new insights. Cultivate the habit of thinking in probabilities rather than absolutes. Recognize that few things in life are entirely certain, and instead assess situations based on likelihoods and risks. This mindset allows for more nuanced, strategic thinking and reduces the emotional turmoil caused by rigid expectations. Practicing probabilistic thinking helps prevent overconfidence in decisions and promotes better risk assessment. Another way to enhance mental flexibility is through exposure to diverse ideas and disciplines. Reading books outside of your comfort zone, engaging with different cultures, and seeking perspectives from various fields of study broaden cognitive adaptability. Deliberate exposure to new concepts stretches the mind, making it more capable of integrating different viewpoints and adjusting to new information with ease. By embracing mental flexibility, you strengthen your capacity for clear thinking. You become less reactive, more open-minded, and better equipped to handle the complexities of life. This ability allows you to step back from impulsive reactions, analyze situations objectively, and make more informed decisions. As you practice this skill, you will notice an increased ability to tolerate ambiguity and adjust your perspective based on new evidence and shifting circumstances. With practice, this adaptability becomes second nature, empowering you to respond to challenges with wisdom, resilience, and clarity. A flexible mind is not only a tool for personal growth, but a key asset in decision-making, problem-solving, and effective communication. The ability to reframe setbacks as opportunities, to pivot when necessary, and to remain open to new perspectives will help you navigate both personal and professional challenges with greater ease. Mental agility fosters creative thinking, allowing you to develop innovative solutions in complex scenarios and remain calm under pressure. Furthermore, mental flexibility enables better relationship management. When you can see situations from multiple viewpoints, you improve your ability to empathize, negotiate, and resolve conflicts effectively. Rather than being trapped by rigid thought patterns, you develop the ability to listen actively, consider alternative ideas, and collaborate more efficiently with others. The more you refine this skill, the more effortlessly you will navigate the shifting landscapes of life, turning uncertainty into an opportunity for deeper understanding and success. By fostering an adaptive mindset, you become more resilient in the face of change, cultivating the ability to thrive in unpredictable environments. Ultimately, mental flexibility leads to increased emotional intelligence, sharper decision-making skills, and a greater sense of personal and intellectual freedom. Chapter 11. The Ultimate Goal: Mastering Your Own Mind. Clear thinking is not about having perfect thoughts, but about mastering them. The mind can be trained, just like a muscle. Through discipline, practice, and self-awareness, clarity becomes a way of life. This mastery requires consistent effort, a willingness to challenge assumptions, and the patience to refine mental habits over time. The journey to clear thinking is not a passive process. It demands active engagement and deliberate practice. True mastery comes when you realize that clear thinking is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong pursuit. Every moment presents an opportunity to train the mind, to pause, reflect, and choose wisely. By developing habits that promote objectivity, logic, and self-awareness, you gain the ability to navigate life's challenges with confidence. This ability allows you to react calmly in crises, make well-thought-out decisions, and approach problems with an analytical mindset rather than a purely emotional response. One of the most effective ways to maintain clarity is to cultivate a routine of mental refinement. Engage in regular reflection, whether through journaling, meditation, or philosophical contemplation. Question your thoughts and beliefs, ensuring they align with reason and truth rather than fleeting emotions or societal pressures. A daily mental review, where you analyze your actions and thoughts throughout the day, can reveal patterns that either support or hinder clear thinking. Adjusting your mindset based on these insights fosters continuous improvement. Additionally, practicing visualization techniques such as mental rehearsal of challenges and how to address them rationally can strengthen mental discipline. Additionally, practice mental discipline by eliminating distractions and prioritizing deep, focused thinking. The ability to sift through information, recognize biases, and apply wisdom to decision-making is a hallmark of a well-trained mind. In a world filled with noise, mastering the ability to filter out unnecessary input is essential. Set aside time for deep work, free from interruptions, and train yourself to focus on what truly matters. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method or mindfulness practices to build cognitive endurance. Creating a structured environment, such as a dedicated workspace with minimal distractions, can further enhance concentration and mental clarity. Surround yourself with knowledge that sharpens your intellect rather than clutters it. Seek conversations and literature that challenge you to think critically, and be mindful of how external influences shape your perception. Avoid mindless consumption of media and instead focus on material that enriches your understanding. Reading complex and thought-provoking books, engaging in intellectual discussions, and writing down reflections on what you learn can reinforce clarity and cognitive sharpness. A good practice is to summarize key takeaways from your readings and actively apply them to real-life situations to deepen comprehension. The ultimate goal is not to control every thought, but to develop the ability to guide and refine them. Clarity is achieved not by perfection, but by the ongoing commitment to mental discipline. This means becoming comfortable with uncertainty, learning to embrace ambiguity, and developing the patience to think before reacting. True clarity requires an unwavering commitment to self-awareness, a recognition that thoughts must be examined before they are believed, and the discipline to cultivate habits that strengthen rationality over impulse. Over time, this approach becomes second nature, allowing you to embody the Stoic way of thinking clearly, where reason and wisdom lead your decisions and emotions serve as valuable insights rather than dictating your actions. This transformation does not happen overnight. It is a continuous refinement process requiring reflection, discipline, and the humility to recognize when our thinking needs adjustment. The ability to pause before reacting, to evaluate the motivations behind our thoughts, and to assess situations objectively is what separates those who are ruled by emotion from those who command their minds with clarity and purpose. By mastering these techniques, you cultivate a mind that remains sharp, resilient, and capable of facing any challenge with unwavering clarity and strength. Developing clear thinking means being able to filter out distractions, silence the inner noise of doubt, and confront challenges with a logical and balanced mindset. It is about training the mind to seek understanding rather than merely reacting to external events. This skill not only enhances decision-making, but also leads to a greater sense of confidence and self-assurance in navigating the complexities of life. Ultimately, clear thinking allows you to approach life with a sense of purpose, navigate difficulties with grace, and inspire those around you with your wisdom and composure. It becomes the foundation upon which success, fulfillment, and resilience are built. When you learn to master your mind, you cultivate an unshakable sense of inner peace, ensuring that external circumstances no longer hold the power to dictate your well-being. This level of mastery enables you to approach each situation with the wisdom to act intentionally, the patience to endure setbacks, and the clarity to see reality as it truly is. Clear thinking is not merely a tool, it is a way of life, one that empowers you to rise above confusion and lead with purpose, intelligence, and unwavering confidence.